The MerlinXL Report Builder allows you to build simple reports by dragging and dropping items in a form. There's no need to key in any member labels or create any formulas. To open the Report Builder, select the second option in the Report Wizard menu. And when opened on a blank worksheet, will initially display the Connection tab. This displays some simple instructions on how to use the form and also enables you to change the application to which you're currently connected. In the POV tab, you can view and change the background point of view and also define what you want in the rows and columns of your new report. Initially, in this report, the rows are set to display the child members of the account NA, and the columns are set to display the current member of the period dimension. By right-clicking on the account in the Rows panel, we can choose a different expansion function for the account member. For this report, I'm going to select the Descendants expansion function so that the report includes every member underneath the selected account in the report. And to choose a different account member, I again right-click on the account item in the Rows panel and select the top option to choose member. I could also just double-click on the account item. And this will display the member selection form for the account dimension. I can choose to select one of the pre-selected favorites, or I can select a member from the account hierarchy. For this report, I'm going to select the balance sheet account, and then select OK to close the member selection form. To change the background point of view of the report, I simply double-click on one of the dimension items in the POV panel. And this time I will select an entity from my list of entity favorites. Back in the Report Builder form, I have the option to give my new report a title. And now I can select OK to build this report. And the report we just defined has been added to a new worksheet. In the rows we have all the descendants of the balance sheet account, and in the columns we have the currently selected period. If we want to add some additional formatting to the report, we can select the options and choose to add horizontal lines at the subtotals. This adds horizontal lines around every expanded parent member. As with all Merlin reports, we're now free to edit the report in the worksheet itself, either by deleting rows or going to design mode and modifying the member labels. So I'm going to quickly delete a few rows just to simulate the effects of editing this report in the worksheet. And now the worksheet report has a modified set of rows. If we open up the Report Builder again, both the rows and the columns panels are displaying the X, indicating that the new report will contain the existing rows or columns on the active worksheet. There's obviously no point building a new report with exactly the same rows and columns as the existing report, so to clear the columns, we drag the column item back to the POV panel, leaving the columns pane blank. Alternatively, we could select the Reset button to clear both the rows and the columns. Now I drag the period dimension back to the columns pane, and this time when I right-click, I'm going to select the special period function called Last 13 Periods. The period item now displays the S icon indicating it's a selection of members, and we can see the selection is the @cur symbol for the last 13 periods. To modify the selected periods, I simply double-click on the period item, and in the member selection form I select the Dimension tab and scroll to the period functions at the bottom, where I can uncheck some of the periods I don't want in my report. And when I'm happy with the modified selection, I just select OK. Then back in the Report Builder form, I'll add a new title for the new report. And this time, before I build the report, I'm going to hide some of the dimensions in the POV panel so that they're not selectable in the active report. The ICP and custom dimensions are typically the ones that get hidden. This means they are fixed for the report and users can't modify them easily. By right-clicking on a dimension in the POV panel, we can choose whether we make the dimension disabled or completely hidden. Once hidden, the dimensions icon is now changed to an H, and I'll repeat this for all the custom dimensions. And for the value dimension, I'll set this to disabled. And now we've set the background point of view, we'll build this report. The new report is built in a new worksheet. The rows of the report have been copied over from the original worksheet, and the columns display the current period and the previous 5 periods. On the right-hand side, we can see in the POV panel the custom and ICP dimensions are not visible. The value dimension is disabled because we chose to disable it when building the report. And note that the account dimension is automatically disabled because the account members are hard-coded in the rows of the report. Usually the dimension specified in the columns of the report, in this case period, would also be disabled. However, we have selected to use the @curve function, therefore we need to be able to change the period dimension, so it is not automatically disabled. Using the display menu option in the POV panel, I'm just going to move the POV over to the left-hand side of the screen. It's purely a personal preference on which side you want to display the POV panel. Now, because the column dimensions when we specified the report were linked to the point of view, when we change the background period, the column headers will also update to reflect the newly selected period. Let's have a look now at how you can create reports with more than one dimension in an axis. As this new report is not going to use the existing rows or columns, we can select the Reset button to reset the form to its default settings. This time I'm going to right-click and select a different function, in this case the grandchildren function. And I'm going to choose another suitable dimension from the point of view panel and drag and drop it into the rows panel. And rather than just have the single custom to member, I'm going to right click and select the selection option and then double click on the item to open up the member selection form. And now I can check the members that I want to include in my selection. And then OK to confirm the selected items. In the new report, the column dimensions are not going to be from the period dimension. So to clear the columns, we've dragged the period item out of the columns panel. And instead we'll drag the entity dimension over to the columns panel. For the entity dimension, this time when we right click, I'm going to select the favorites option, which will automatically select all the entities that I have previously chosen as my favorites. But double clicking to display the member selection form allows me to modify this selection and deselect the members that I don't want to include in this particular report. And once the selection has been modified, select OK to close the form. Now that I've specified the members in the rows and the columns, I can select OK to build the report. Note that I haven't bothered to put a title for this particular report. And once the report is built, sometimes you do have to manually adjust the column widths to get the best presentation. And the finished report has all the usual MerlinXL interactive functionality. Double-clicking will drill down to the next level in both the rows and the columns, and the right-click functionality on a data cell is also available. The more experienced users who wish to customize the reports further can switch to Design mode, which exposes the member labels used to create the row and column headers, which can be edited or deleted to create a customized report. How to modify reports in design mode is covered in a later video.